motivated to get it going. He just didn't give up as an impossible task. And on top of that, there was one little incident which had gone unsurfaced. But I must mention it because this was a very crucial point at which he made a difference. There was a doctor working in Jaffna Hospital who had a romantic relationship with one of the nurses who were from the south, was working in Jaffna Hospital. And this lady, when this ethnic riots occurred, did not want to go back to her home in the south. But the government ordered all the southern staff to return to their homes and not to stay in the north. Now all of a sudden this lady was found missing in the quarters and nobody knew where she was. And naturally this created a lot of stir, and the state was very interested in finding out what happened, and they wanted to blame someone for this one's absence. And the worst was thought that happened. But Siva quietly went and met this doctor and had a long chat with him and convinced him of the greater good for him to come out with the information. And then we managed to locate the girl who was being housed in a private residence by this doctor. And she safely went back to her home, and a big ethnic clash was averted by this move. And these are all instances where Siva made a difference. Then again, after a gap, I met him in London, where we worked together at the New General Hospital. And that was the time we had the next program, that's the 83 Black July. Again, Siva stepped in, and we went and joined the Central British Fund for Tamil Refugees Rehabilitation, which was active at that time, to collect so much funds which were sent over to the affected people in the north and east of Sri Lanka. And because the information gathering was so unreliable at that time, we mooted the Tamil Information Center, which took over the job of getting all this information collected. This became a very focal point during the early 80s, as that was the only reliable source of information that we could supply to the rest of the world. This motivated Siva to go even further, and then he thought of local organizations, and that was the birth of East London and Essex Tamil organization called EDITA. And that was another organization that he founded. It didn't stop there. Then he even wanted a center where the Tamils could meet and mingle, irrespective of their origin of, as a country of birth. That was the so-called Tamil House, which we erected on Rumford Road, and that went for many years, uniting the Tamils under one banner. Therefore, these are all these projects that Siva was involved in. And of course, he didn't stop there. As we heard from Sarada, we went on to form a professional organization, that is Medical Institute of Tamils, which is even now thriving and bringing our dreams to bear. Now, having said all this, as Anbalagan said earlier, Vayathul Valvangu Valvavan, Vanurai Tevathul Vayathul. He who on this earth has lived his life in an exemplary state, as an example to others, will be placed among the gods who dwell in heaven. And that is exactly where Siva is today. As Nami so touchingly told us. Goodbye, Siva. Now, there are few expressed interest in saying a few words from the delegates. Dr. Navaratnam wanted to say a few words.
Late Dr. Siva, family and friends. I have several reasons to be here today. One is that Siva and I believed in the same manner, the need for the Tamils to work together to get freedom in Sri Lanka. And there is also a family relationship where my wife's sister Rani married Siva's brother-in-law. But more than all that, my friendship with Siva started in London. I did not know him in Sri Lanka because I left Sri Lanka in 1968 to the UK. I came to know Siva when he was a GP in North London and knew of his work along with Mahendran and others with MIOT. As you know, I have been a pioneer in Scott, which started in 1977. But MIOT worked alongside us, getting more doctors involved and doing charities in the north and east of Sri Lanka. And Siva, I won't talk for long, impressed me as an honest, hard-working, a person of integrity, and a person with determination, and a person who does things rather than theorizes. So I have a great respect for him, and I bid him farewell now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Navaratnam. You turn. I thought you wanted to say a few words. Dr. Amma Pillai wanted to say a few words about Siva.
Hello, Yogesh and family. I have known Siva from the time he was a schoolboy. I saw a picture of his as a schoolboy. That's when I first met him. It's strange because Siva had his primary, no, not the other, the young one.
The young one. So just next to that. That's it.
That's what. That's when I first met him. That's how he looked. This was in Jaffna. Although Siva was in Jaffna for his primary and secondary education, and although I had it in Colombo, we used to spend all our holidays in Jaffna. And all my cousins went either to St. John's or Chunukuri or Burberry. And I think through my cousin, I think Johnnyans will know, he was DM Selvanagam, he was a cricket and athletic captain at St. John's. And he was friendly with Siva. And through him we met, and I don't want to go through the details, but Nami has told you all about his school day escapades. But I knew Siva in various aspects differently. First, as a student, as a schoolboy. Second, in the medical school, he was 1 year senior to me. and later on as a colleague in Haringe for 25 years. And finally, as a member of my holiday group. My nose was happening. So as a GP, I had the highest respect for Siva. I was a consultant in audiovisual medicine, and he sends all his patients to me, and every patient has only the highest praise for Siva as a brilliant GP, very kind man, and they all loved him. And so during when we meet regularly in the postgraduate meetings, and he was very interested in Dr. Hughes said about CMV and CPD, and he was a praiser for the GP. So he was very, very interested in that aspect of medical education. And he got to know from either you or Mahendra Raja that you told him, that I am involved in organizing tours for doctor friends. And he told me, Tamba, next time include me. So in fact, I was at that time planning the Cambodia-Vietnam trip, and he said, yes, I'm coming. And he was trying to get one of his brothers-in-law and sister-in-law to join, but they couldn't come. So I'm only going to tell you a few incidents of the holiday with Siva, right? So when we first went to Cambodia, there are certain places he loved, right? We went to the Angkor temple. He was absolutely delighted being and the history behind it. And can you remember we went to that, we had to climb a hill to go to a river where the 100 palaces, right?
Yeah.
Can you remember that?
Yeah.
We struggled, went up there.
1,000 Sivalingams.
1,000 Sivalingams, right? So, Siva told me, Majan, they are coming all this way. This must have been before IVF, right? I said, yeah. Because the story was that people who couldn't have children, they went up to that river, bathed in it, and mysteriously they got pregnant. Right? So I told Siva, Makan, you and I know that's all rubbish, right? So anyway, that was one, and we came down. I think, did you climb up to the thing, Yogesh? Yeah, it was quite a difficult climb, right? But it was fantastic. And then, what he didn't like was...
Panting everywhere.
Yeah, we were all panting. What he didn't like was the Pol Pot Museum. He said, I know. He was so aghast by the atrocities and all those skulls. I didn't like that. But he all, of course, liked the massage that we got. Right?
He went to sleep.
He went to sleep, right? So, of course, I was fair. I got the ladies to have a foot massage, right? And they would have played football after that because they were so relaxed. And the men fell asleep during the full body massage. And Siva was one. And so that was great. But when we went to yeah, I come to that. When we went to Vietnam, the food was not very good, right? We had to select hotels where we could eat. And we finally found one restaurant where we could eat, but only problem is, the chefs leave at 8 o'clock, so you have to go early, order your food, so the last day, we all went and sat down and we ordered our dishes. So I asked him, what are you eating? Nandu Machan. Okay. So I looked at the menu, $45 one Nandu dish, $90 for the two of them, right? And I said, why? Papa, these people are struggling, that is his generosity, right? So he ordered the Nandu. Nandu came. The Nandu was bigger than the plate. Huge Nandu. And he looking at me, I'm looking at him. He should have said, why is it too late? Right? So he struggled. I don't know how much he ate. Right? Then we came off. And then we were at the beach resort, right? And that time the cyclone and water, I can remember we had to rush out to the restaurant. Then they said that they don't have laundry service, right? So can you actually put the thing in the bag and there is a man who will collect it. So we all did that, and we all when the We were all asked to come and collect it. We collected it. Then in the evening, Siva told me, Acha, this will be very expensive, no? I said, why? I paid only $6. $6? He charged $70 to me. $70 for a few trousers. Why? Show me the bill. His accent, he wants $17, but Siva gave $70. And I said, well, Siva, that is your generosity, don't worry. Yeah? So that is how Siva was. He was an absolutely great guy. And he then told me, right, I am going to select the next holiday. I said, fine, you tell me where. He said, Cuba. So we arranged, we went to Cuba, we had a great time there. And can you remember the Vinales? They told me, one problem in Cuba is you can have all the rooms, everything booked. When you go there, they say, no rooms. Right? So you have to be prepared for that. So when the capital was fine, right? But when we went to Vinales, problem. All the rooms were given away, and they said they are going to put us all, 10 families, into individual guest houses. So I was taken to the first one. This lady doesn't know a word of English. Small house, small room. I came back and said, we are not going anywhere. If you don't find a hotel for us tonight, we are all going to sleep in this bus. So finally they got that hotel, remember. So we had a great time, and Siva was always keen to join back, right? And unfortunately, well, fate had it, and he's not anymore. So Siva was a friend for a long, long time. And after we left, after he qualified in 1971, I met him after 25 years when I took up the consultancy, and we renewed our friendship, and I'm sad that he's not there anymore. And I have known the family of Siva, I think Ati and Rishan, right, came to see me, and I think attended your elder sister's wedding long years ago. And I think that's your eldest grandson, yeah? Right, okay, lovely, thank you.
Thank you for giving us all these now, I think we have come to the end of the talks, and Dr. Agneswaran is Dr. Agneswaran here. He's going to give the vote of thanks.